Hi, I'm Carmela from Power of Rising Spirit, and today I'm interviewing Liz Larson from Transform One Idea. We're going to talk about Cognomovement, which is an amazing um, tool for healing. So, hi, Liz, how are you?
Hi, Carmela. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting my request of your interview. It's awesome. So, first, I want to share with the audience who is Liz Larson?
So, my company name is Transform One Idea, and I'm what's called a transformation strategist. So I help people figure out what they want, because most people know what they don't want, but not what they do, and help them figure out the fastest way to get there. And that means whatever tool it takes to create the outcome that they want. And I also am the lead trainer for Cognomovement, and I do research and development for Cognomovement as well.
That's great. Yes, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Cognomovement, this amazing new, well, it's not new, it's been around for a little while now, but it's starting to pick up. You know, people are starting to notice because, so I want to share with the audience and who don't know yet, what is Cognomovement?
Okay, so I'll show you. So it's based on this little gadget here, which looks a lot like a soccer ball, because it is. And you can see the color and symbol. There's also this version as well, which happens to be my favorite. And the only difference is the texture and the way they feel. This one's much lighter and easier for, you know, sometimes little kids or elderly people that, you know, can't have the weight. And some people just really like the heft of this one.
Okay.
So it is based on the idea that it harmonizes both sides of the brain. So the shape and the symbols and the color access different parts of the brain. And so because of that, it harmonizes the brain instantly just by holding it and looking at it, acknowledging the color and the symbol. Both sides of the brain are activated. So great for learning. Wow. It also addresses the three main ways people learn: auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. And I'm pretty sure this audience, you know, is into healing and energetic healing and spiritual things. And so that's something that's missing. The physical part, the kinesthetic, the hands-on part is missing in a lot of the things that we do in this realm when we found that it's essential. It also is a cross-body movement, which harmonizes the left and the right side of the brain and gets both sides of the nervous system activated. A lot of neurological chiropractors, physical therapists use a cross-body movement. And then we've now incorporated eye-accessing cues, which are from neurolinguistic programming, which I'm a master neurolinguistic programming practitioner. And it helps us access our emotions. So when you look down, you're accessing your emotions, left or right. When you look up, you're often accessing memory, but also inspiration. So we use cross-body from low to high. And then we use vocal cues as well. So the overall effect is that we are able to kind of delete, like we're deleting a program, emotional issues, physical issues, and now consciousness issues. So a whole wide range of things.
So would you say that it's so it balances the whole body, the whole system, right? Because to me is when you do the side to side, you know, that is the balance, right? You're doing the dance, and as always, we never talked about this before, but we're doing the dance of the balance. So you access all the symptoms, not the symptoms, all the feelings and all
senses,
yeah, that's awesome.
And
why should someone use this?
Well, in my estimation, and I use a lot of tools, so Sedona method, tapping, you know, like I said, NLP, which encompasses a massive range of things, and lots of other tools, access consciousness and access bars, all of those. So what I found is that Cognomovement works the fastest. For a practitioner, we want to give the most we can to our client, but also we want to see them get better quickly. And so with Cognomovement, we found, especially with these advancements, we're down to one pass of the ball, which we would call one session. No, it's not a whole session, but it's one pass, is 45 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, a minute, 3 minutes. So overall, you're looking at 5 minutes for one issue. That leaves you free to tackle a lot of issues in one session. So the other thing is that because it's so complete, because it involves so many of our learning centers, and make no mistake, when you're healing, changing beliefs, working through an issue, you are learning. You have to relearn a new way of being with that thing gone. That's the thing so many practitioners miss, is that you're removing something that sometimes the person is built on. And so, you know, that can take time in other modalities. And this modality, it's so complete. The neurology is so involved. The brain is involved. The eyes are involved. The ears are involved. The body's moving, that it just eliminates it. And it leaves us free to put back in what is wanted, the new thing that the person actually wants to have in our life. So I'm a little biased, but also I'm a practitioner who utilizes this daily. And I find that it's ultimately the most resourceful tool I have right now.
That is amazing. That's just, it blows me away, because, you know, we do have installed programs, as you call them, but, you know, beliefs and ideas, trauma. So from when you were a child, and how your parents or grandparents, or for a lot of the times, even we brought it here from another lifetime. You know, and that belief is, it's stuck in us, even though you clear it as much as you can. But I find that over time, sometimes it comes back.
I like that you said that it's stuck in us, because that's absolutely the truth. So Cognomovement, one of the amazing things about it, and it also maps over for me from NLP, is that you don't have to get into the story all the time of what the issue is. I mean, the practitioner really doesn't need to know. What we do need to know is, where's the body noticing it, or playing it for us. So, well, it's nothing. Okay, it's not in my body, it's in my mind. Well, a thought isn't a thought without the body noticing it. We do. Even people who don't think they do, ultimately you notice. Like, a thought of grief is often felt in the heart. Things about family are often felt in the lower parts of the body. So not always. And sometimes it's weird. Sometimes it'll be, I feel it in my finger, I feel it in my big toe. And all we have to do is know that, and we clear the feeling. And ultimately what's happening is, that is where your body is storing that emotion, that problem, even from a past life. It gets stored in our physical body now. So to keep it from coming back, we have to work it out of the physical body. We have to delete it from our physical body. And that's the really most amazing thing that Cognomovement can do, is it addresses that, because it is a physical movement.
Wow, that's so great. I can't wait. Anyone can use this method?
Yeah, anyone can use it. And more we're finding out how people are using it. So Cognomovement normally is tossed back and forth between a practitioner and a client, or a mom and a dad, or a mom and a baby, or friends. So, and so it requires you to catch. Some people cannot catch. So what we've discovered, because some of our amazing practitioners have just done it, is they'll take the ball themselves and move it like this across.
Wow.
Yeah. So what's missing for the person who's doing it is a little bit of the hands-on touch, but they do move with it. But they're seeing and calling out the color, and their eyes are moving back and forth. A lot like EMDR, if people are familiar with that, or rapid eye movement.
Yeah.
But the difference is the brain is noticing color and texture and shape the whole time, getting both sides of the brain harmonized, activating different centers of the brain. So that's one way. Another way is a person can do it for themselves that way. moving it. You can also do a solo session against the wall, bouncing it off the wall. That's where this one comes in great. So you don't bother your neighbors if you live in an apartment. But another way that it has been used is been rolled on the floor to children who aren't old enough to catch. And that works brilliantly as well. It's also being used in schools and being passed around and around a circle of kids, which is creating a lot too. So we haven't found anybody who can't use it yet.
That's great. I want to hear more about the children, but first I want to ask, what have been some of the outcomes from this Cognomovement that you have found?
What's interesting about Cognomovement, and it's probably mostly my fault, is there is such a wide range of ways that it's been used. So originally, the founder, Bill McKenna, was using it with people with emotional issues, sometimes stress from an injury he was working with. And then when I got involved, because I just don't follow the rules, I introduced athletic performance. We started using it with athletes. And we've had amazing results. So one of our athletes actually is a high level in his sport. He's a competitive marksman, and he moved 2 categories in 1 year. Some people never move 1 category in a year. It's almost unheard of. And he's over 50, which is also kind of unheard of. Guys don't start moving up the ranks at that age. But what we found is we could delete his bad habits and install a new one like that, literally 2-3 minutes. We have it on camera. You can actually see it on cognomovement.com. One session. So we worked on micro issues, because for him it's seconds, microseconds, tenths of seconds. We worked on tiny issues, and we were able to really get such a movement that he moved 2 classifications in 1 year. We have a young boy who's actually doing this movement himself. Actually, he's doing this himself, tossing it back and forth. And he's saying, he's a polo player. Yeah, and a kid, he's only 12. And he says, I swim faster, I swim faster, I swim faster. And he just moved up with the 14-year-olds because his skills and his speed have increased so much. Now, the practitioner that did that is actually his grandmother. And she just became a practitioner last month. So she went right out and took the ball and showed it to him. And in that short of a time, he's had that much improvement. So that's amazing. We had 2 cases, and one we just heard about recently, a man using it with his autistic son. And he is also, the boy can't catch, but he's moving the ball from side to side for him. And he described a whole list of behavioral things that have changed for him. One of them being that the boy tended to, what they said was hallucinate or live in an imaginary world. And that shifted, where he's a little bit disassociated now, and he understands that maybe that's a movie, like the dad described it like a director. So now he's outside of that hallucination instead of inside of it.
Wow.
It's resourceful. Yeah, I mean, it's resourceful for the family.
Yeah,
so
I can just imagine how much peace would that bring, just alone.
I mean, I can't even imagine. He said the improvements over a year have been astounding for them, and only they can measure that because they know. But it is being studied, or the very beginnings of studies in an autistic institute in California. People are using, we have a amazing practitioner in the New Jersey area who's using it with kids in a yoga studio. We used it actually with 60 kids plus teenagers. So it's about 70 people camp, a youth theater camp, where they were getting, having about 15 to 20 minutes of chaos, if you can imagine, kids from 6 years old to 14, getting ready and settled down to start rehearsal for the day. And we brought the ball in, and after about the 3rd day, the whole thing, getting in the building, getting sat down, and starting rehearsal was taking, you're not going to believe this, but 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
God, that is awesome.
Now, included in that 7 minutes was a secondary physical warm-up that they do in theater camp. So it was literally about 3.5 minutes of 60 kids sitting in 3 groups, moving the ball all the way around the circle, left and right, and calling out the color. It's also on cognomovement.com. You can see the video. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And it looks like this little meditation. The result was, after 2 weeks, that people reported that this show, 15 years this show's been happening, summer camp, that this show was different. The kids were singing louder. They were more present. They were more enthusiastic.
Wow.
So, I mean, that was huge. And then that teacher has brought it into a second grade classroom. And I interviewed him the other day, and he said, well, I don't know, maybe the kids are just really good kids. And then he shook his head and said, no, it's the ball. So he's doing it daily. It works like an anchor for the kids. They come in, they see the ball, they know they're going to sit and get their little systems calm. And it's really beautiful to watch. Really, really cool.
Well, yeah, because I can just imagine, like, as you're talking about, you know, I'm very visual. And as you're talking about, I'm getting this picture of my head. And it's like, okay, they know that they're going to get their both side balanced, and they're going to have this balanced body. And so they're not off balance, you know, like creating chaos, because when you're off kilt, you create chaos in your system, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
When your body's balanced, everything is aligned, you can see better, you can think clearer, you can focus more easily, and all of that. That is such an amazing thing to have. I'm so excited for this thing to come out live in full force.
And there's one more piece of that. So you know that there's a lot of bullying in school, and little kids tend to scrap with each other. And this teacher, it's also an LA school district, by the way, but this teacher I'm talking about is here in Oregon. And he has the kids sit down in what's called a talk it out chair. So, you know, I didn't like it when you did X and so, and I felt bad when you did X and so, which is amazing on its own.
Yeah.
But he has said that he wants to incorporate the ball. I think he already has started incorporating the ball and having them toss the ball back and forth. And that does two things. One, there's a cooperation involved when you're tossing a ball back and forth. The principal of the school is also, you know, doing the same thing. Like when a kid comes in and they're in trouble, they toss the ball because there's a natural body language of cooperation. So that's one level alone. Also, it's a little bit distracting. We're tossing a ball back and forth. But the other thing is that because of the way the Cognomovement ball works, the cross-body movement and the colors, you call out the color. And these kids, even at second grade, they're learning how to do it. That sting, that problem that happened could live in that child's body for the rest of their life. I mean, think about it. Did you ever have anything happen in grade school that you can recall today viscerally in your body? It still hurts.
Me
too. So the idea is that thing can be cleared from the body right now. That little physical being does not have to ever have that thing stick. There's so many layers of the brain being harmonized, the distraction and the physical movement that brings down cortisol in the system. The physical movement, we know, lowers stress levels. So without the cortisol, without the hit, the little body never absorbs it. And it just gets to go away. So imagine what life could be like in the future where kids immediately can go into the corner. And in this classroom, this is in the corner. It's a calm down activity that they can do on their own. They don't have to carry that with them for the rest of their lives. Can you imagine what the world would be like with that?
Oh, I so want to bring it here and want to use it in school for the children.
It's huge.
I am so excited about this.
So I have to tell you a couple of the grown-up things, the non-athletic things. So I know a lot of your audience is interested in spiritual things.
Yes.
So we realize that one of the things that can happen is that programs that run in your body, like we're talking about, like a bully in grade school or a teacher that yelled at you, or one time you wet your pants and somebody shamed you over it.
That never happened.
That happened to me in kindergarten.
It did not happen to me, thank God.
It did. It happened to me in kindergarten. And in my NLP training, I declared I didn't realize it was still with me. Yeah. So here's the idea. Those programs are running in your system and they're draining energy. I don't know if you watch Gaia TV, but Dr. Vertenheimer was talking about that, how we know that those programs that run in our body, they literally take a piece of our energy and tuck it somewhere. It's like a virus on your computer that drags away the energy or the memory from your computer. And eventually it runs slower and slower and slower and gets glitch after glitch after glitch. And we can imagine those are our physical and emotional problems, right? Mm-hmm. So what we found is that if we eliminate, let's say, shame, which is at the bottom of the Hawkins scale, if you're familiar with David Hawkins scale, levels of consciousness, we can get back, let's say it's 2.5% that's being given to run that program of I wet my pants in kindergarten and I was embarrassed, right? Yeah. And what if that happens again? What if I'm embarrassed again?
Yeah.
What is that preventing me from doing in my life? And that has a cost of energy. Mm. So we release those quickly. We release all of them at once. We just ask the body, anywhere and everywhere that your body is running the program of shame, your mind is running the program of shame, or your spirit is running the program of shame, yeah. Connect with it. So we have the person look down, the eyes connect in with the emotion in the physical body. Where is it, right? They connect in with it, and then we run the cycle of the ball all the way up and end up here at inspiration, up high, and it's gone.
Wow.
It's gone. And so what we've had happen is people are leaving these sessions saying, I'm not the same person. I went home, I came one person, I went home somebody else. We had a person who cleared guilt in the office. At the end of the session, somebody called and said, hey, you're late coming home. You know, they were babysitting her baby. And I know this person, she normally would have gotten up out of the chair, probably started crying before she left the office out of just panic that she'd hurt someone, yeah, or inconvenienced someone. And she sat back in her chair and looked at her phone. She said, yeah, they're upset that I'm late. They can wait. And she stayed for another half an hour for us to finish up what we were doing and walked slowly out the door, waved, smiled. And she said, I can't believe it. I would have freaked out before. Yeah. And I said, well, we deleted that program. You don't have a match to it anymore. You don't have the match to guilt anymore. So guilt didn't play out as a program in her now. She was free of that. So it was incredible to watch. Like, it really almost brought tears to my eyes. Just fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
There was another one with a child who was very little and couldn't speak yet.
Another one of our amazing brand new practitioners. So when you become a practitioner, when you're in your training, you have to do a number of sessions before you actually receive your certificate.
Okay.
And so she was, kind of trying to do that. And she was sitting with a small child, around 2, who they believe is autistic. And, it's hard to tell when they're that little, but the child wasn't speaking. And also he didn't respond to his name. Like, he didn't respond when you called him. So she was playing with him and she was just rolling the ball back and forth. And we had suggested that was a possibility of just rolling the ball for little ones. So she was rolling the ball back and forth and he was pushing it back to her. But if you roll it side to side, it forces the eyes and the body to move to push it back, right? Yeah. So you get your cross body movement, you get your eye movement. And so she really was just kind of experimenting, kind of playing with him. She does work with autistic children in her work. And she said she got up and went in the other room. And the baby was left with the ball in another room. And they realized that they had left the baby in the other room. So someone called out to the baby and the baby answered in a sentence.
Oh my God, I just got shivers.
Yeah, she was like, what just happened? Incredible. So it's very anecdotal, but I mean, the power of our body to be able to unlock these things. It's just a simple shift of the brain through the eyes. The eyes do a lot for us in accessing the files in our brain. And if we know how to purposely move them, we can create change. So can I tell a quick story about another piece of Cognomovement?
Yeah, and then I have a couple more questions.
Okay, I just want to share this because we're kind of on this topic.
Okay.
And I know that your audience is so educated and they know about this stuff. So I just want to share there's another piece that we use, and it was actually given to us by Dr. Jody Bull Wilson,
Okay.
who is also, she's a doctor of psychology and business, but also master NLP practitioner and our friend. And I was talking about this, and we do use a figure 8 on the floor, which kind of mimics the way that a labyrinth works. So it forces the brain to turn left and right abruptly. And so we were talking about that. And so she suggested that we use a figure 8 here and move the eyes. What we discovered when we do that is that you can actually see, because of these eye accessing zones, where something is stuck. The eyes will literally, I don't know if this is a word, but kind of chigger back and forth, like, and you can see something is stuck there. So this is part of the Cognomovement system that we use. So we can do that, but we also move the ball here, making the eyes stretch all the way one way and all the way another. We use a figure 8 here. It moves the eyes. It forces the eyes to make those changes and adjustments, and we can see where things are stuck. Amazing. The other thing that it turns out it does is in Qigong, they use a lot of figure 8s. And what it does is it actually adds energy to the auric system, the auric field. Now, when you come to a seminar for Cognomovement, we use what's called BioWell, which actually tests your auric field, your energetic field. It's a medical device, actually, created by a university in LA. I'm not sure which one. Anyway, so we can literally see in real time how the energetic field and the auric field and the chakra system is affected by these movements, and it's massive. So it's just another piece that makes the Cognomovement system so complete in creating shift in not just the body, in the mind, but in your energetic or auric field. Pretty cool.
Really cool. I actually have to attest to that, the infinity sign or the figure 8. And, I get information at nighttime. Usually, I get information of healing and what to do and stuff. And that came to me as using the figure 8, in front of you to help balance.
It does. It does. It really is an ancient,
I guess.
Yeah, it's an ancient thing that is used in Qigong. It's one of the bases there. And so when we started using it, we didn't know that, but we found out later. And now it explains why we're getting the results we're getting. The truth is, you can get change just by using the figure 8 system, the way we're using it in Cognomovement now. You combine that with the ball, you're still getting the cross-body movement. You're also getting the color and the symbol and the shape. So alone, it actually creates change. When it's combined, it just makes everything happen so much faster. And I think so much more completely.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really
so I want to know a little bit of the person who created, or, my audience will love to know about him, who created this method, and how did he come up with it, I guess. And how did you get involved in all of it?
Okay. So that's kind of a fun story. So Bill McKenna is the founder of Cognomovement.
Okay.
And if any of your followers watch Gaia TV, you would recognize him from the Regina Meredith program. And she interviewed him. And the first interview, I think, is called A Very Simple Healing Method, that he went on and just offered. He didn't have anything to sell. He did have a book called The Only Lesson at the time, which is about his transformation and how he changed his life from being an angry Irishman to being a highly intuitive psychic healer in many ways. Wow. Yeah, so that's his story. It's a really fun read. If you get the book, you can find it on Amazon. It's really, really sweet and well done. So Bill, that's where he attended the Psychic Institute, but that's where people started to get to know him. And he's so easy and just gentle, and it just wasn't trying to sell anything. He just was sharing this healing method that is highly effective.
Yes.
So he's done several interviews with Gaia, and he's one of the most watched interviews because yeah, he really is, because he was just offering something for the betterment of humankind. And so, yeah. So I saw him on Gaia, and I help practitioners. One of the roles I play in my life is I help other practitioners build their business, you know, get online, have a website, know what their core message is, stuff like that. So I've never done this in my life, but I emailed him and said, hey, what about putting on a seminar here in Oregon, in Ashland? I'll arrange everything. Well, at the time, he didn't have a website. Like I said, he wasn't selling anything. He wasn't selling a program. He just was offering something, and he didn't have a website, none of that. So we got together and started working together. About a year and a half later, he discovered this physical therapy movement that had to do with cross-body. And like so many of us have, he got this big download of what if we could use this? And so because by then we were good friends and working together, you know, he called and said, hey, I have this idea. What do you think? Because of my background, I knew why it would work. I knew why the eye movement would work. He knew why the color and shape and everything, but we talked about it a lot, and he went forward and had, you know, all of this created.
Wow.
All created there in Amazon around the world. And, you know, we started planning seminars and around the Cognomovement ball. And then something happened last year. And it's another thing, I never follow the rules. And so it came time to create practitioner protocols. And that was one of the things I am good at and could help with. So I started to write just put it into package so that it was learnable and there was documents and all of that. And as I did it, I needed to research. So I started using it more and more with my own clients. And originally the program was 15 minutes. And I just didn't have time for 15 minutes. And I never followed the rules. So I started to add in some of the things I knew from NLP and some of the other things. And so we ended up adding the low to high. We ended up shortening it originally down to 5-minute segments, then 3-minute segments, then 1-minute segments, and 45-minute segments. We started to collect more data and added, Bill was already using the figure 8 on the floor, and we added the figure 8s around the body. And so that's how I really got involved and started being head of the research and development part, is because I just don't follow the rules. And and so what I really want to say about Bill McKenna is, most people would not take their modality and allow collaboration the way that he has. And so how it really worked is I would come up with a harebrained idea, try it a few times, get results, call him and say, hey, here's what I discovered, you try. He would add to it, come back to me, to be this back and forth. And so it just grew quickly. And that's because he had so much willingness to allow this modality to come onto the planet. And we've been saying lately that this modality demanded to be on the planet. There was no reason for me to call him and say, hey, I want to put on a seminar for you. There was no reason for him to chat with me about it or, collaborate in any way, shape, or form. And most people would not allow that. And Bill did. And so now we are facilitating seminars, certifying practitioners, which is for me the most exciting thing, because now we have people learning this modality, taking it seriously, and going out in the world and doing miraculous things. To me, they feel like real miracles that they're creating. And what's wonderful about it is it's simplistic enough that an intuitive person, a person with some previous skill, all you have to be is a little bit smart and you can do this and create massive change really with a 3-day fully, it's a very immersive, fully intensive program, but in 3 days you can learn this and take it out and work with clients and your family and great miracles.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that covers, you know, how you got involved within and how long the sessions are, right?
Yeah.
So they're shrunk down now to 45 minutes.
45
basically.
seconds.
45 seconds. Wow, even faster. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can work so many layers with that, right?
Yeah, that's what happens. So 45 seconds is a piece that happens as what I call a cleanup part.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll do a minute. How it works is, where do you feel it in your body? Okay, let's say here, from 1 to 10, how intense is it? 10 being the most intense and 1 being like, it's gone.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where we begin. So let's say the thing is a 5, I feel it here. We work the ball for 1 minute, low to high. We do our infinity. We check back in again. Now it's down to a 2, 1.5 or 2. Now we may do what's a zigzag up the body one way and up the body the other way, totaling 30 to 45 seconds. A lot of times that's just enough to collapse it down to a nothing. So you've got maybe a 1.5 minute session and another 35 to 45 second session, creating one thing that eliminates whatever was happening here. And then you can layer that with, you can move on to the next thing. Or sometimes another layer moves up. So
this can actually help people with PTSD, with you know, I guess to help her alleviate some of the anxiety, you know, the stress and all of that too, right?
Yeah. Because Cognomovement is considered a low risk health device, we can't say that it works on PTSD. What we can say is that it helps with stress.
Okay.
And families of a person with PTSD are stressed.
Yeah.
And a person with PTSD, I mean, it's called a stress disorder. They're stressed about what's going to happen next. So we can really help them with the stress related with their issues. You really can do a lot, and especially with the family.
Yeah, but they still follow up with their medical, you know, because this is not.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So how does anybody get in touch with you? Like, I want to bring you guys here to Toronto and have you guys share it here. So we're working on that as we're talking. We're making some dates available, and we're gonna start setting that up.
Yeah.
But how does anybody else get in touch with you or Bill?
Okay.
If they want to talk to you, if they have a question, or if they have, you know, any that they want to bring you somewhere, they want to create this, they want to learn, where do they get in touch with you guys?
So really you can reach both of us through billmckennaevents.com. No, sorry. Bill McKenna Events at gmail.com, Bill McKenna Events at gmail.com, or there is billmckennaevents.com, but the fastest way is through cognomovement.com. You can reach out. We are on a whirlwind of trainings. Right now we're doing practitioner trainings in Massachusetts and in Glendora, California in the month of November. We will be in Indiana in December doing a Cogno Conscious. The end of this month, October 26 and 27, we're doing the initial class for Cogno Conscious, where people are going to be clearing out all the way up the Hawkins scale, all the way to enlightenment. Huge, very, very intense, but you'll leave a different person. And so if a person wants us to come to their area, we just need to figure out if there's a number of people to make it doable, affordable for us to get there. Yeah. So we're open to coming and do trainings of many different kinds, but right now Cogno Conscious and practitioner trainings. The practitioner trainings are especially fun with Secrets of the Masters with Bill. So that original healing, the therapy treatment, whatever you want to call it, that he shared on Gaia, he's got hundreds of those. And he absolutely loves to sprinkle them into trainings. And so people not only leave with Cognomovement under their belt, but all kinds of little healing techniques that help people also create little miracles and big miracles.
Oh.
So also very, very intensive. There's a lot of information there, but it's kind of magical with that aspect thrown in throughout. It's like having salt and pepper added to your plate.
That is so amazing. I am so glad that you took the time and share with us all this information. That way we can bring it to prosper even further, this amazing technique. You know, I'm looking around and there's everywhere right now, they're talking about deleting programs or programs.
Yeah, you're right.
Installed in your, you know, how they have been installed in our system, you know, to keep us from achieving who we truly are and get to show who we, you know, live the life that we were meant to live, come here, because we are made of love and we should be just with that thought. But, you know, we come here and get all covered up with other things. And so, yeah, that's amazing.
Well, and you're 100% right. You know, we talk about this all the time, but, you know, at the point in which it came into our vicinity as a download about, you know, wait a minute, this looks like it's deleting programs. We started to research quickly and we found exactly what you're saying, that almost everybody, it's in our field right now. We're talking about deleting programs, which means it's available to us on the planet now where maybe it wasn't before, and readily available. And so with Cognomovement, the system already existed to do it. And we just put our focus a little more on there and actually on creating an elevated consciousness. We know that when we have less energy, energy is devoted to these programs, we actually have less energy that's available to the higher conscious levels. So think about it this way. Imagine if you're fighting with your husband, one of your kids, somebody at the grocery store, right? Or even somebody really flipped you off in the car. And now you're focused on that and your brain is running it. How much energy do you feel like you have in that situation for creativity or to feel loving or to send a blessing?
You don't, you're blocked.
You don't. It's all sucked into this thing that's going on that might be very, very temporary, might be a little thing, might be nothing, just an irritation, but it still sucks all of your energy, and you have no energy to put into the love, joy, peace, which are at the higher levels of the consciousness scale. I mean, we've all heard love or above. It's a vibration of 500 on the Hawkins scale. And that's where things happen. That's where miracles happen. That's where we're creating our lives with true intention.
Yeah.
But most of us are distracted with these programs. Now consider one of those programs that's not a little thing. It's not a minor irritation. It's a major trauma that happened in your life. And that thing is sucking so much energy, so much, even if we're not aware of it, it's there, you know, pulling and pulling and pulling and keeping us out of the vibrational realm where we can create with intention, with love, with creativity. So we realized, because of exactly what you said, it's all over in the field about this programs running. Every percentage, every little percentage of that energy that we can get back by deleting the program actually raises your availability to be in those higher consciousness realms more. None of us are all the time, but more. So I have to share with you what happened to me. And you and I know each other quite well. And I'm a person who ran at frustration. I would say I'm the queen of frustration. I was the type of person that if I had an idea, let's say it's for Cognomovement, I would be frustrated that I didn't have that idea 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago, instantly. The idea would come with frustration of not having created it sooner. I mean, not smart, but that's the way my system ran.
Yeah.
And I never could create anything in peace. Over here would be running what I should do tomorrow, what I should do next week, what hasn't happened yet, you know, what, all around programs and voices and frustration, right? Self-admitted queen of frustration. So we started doing this work and facilitated this magnificent seminar, just amazing. And when I go to a seminar, I don't usually, when I facilitate, I'm not usually doing the work for myself. I'm holding space. So I imagine myself like this the whole time, right? I'm watching. My role is as the trainer. So I'm watching for technique. I'm answering questions. Bill's role is as the, you know, the teacher giving more spiritual advice and also helping with secrets of the masters and watching and, you know, a little bit different roles, but the same thing. We're both there holding space. So I'm just holding the space of all this and watching, you know, all these miracles happen left and right. And I came home from the seminar and I had an idea. I mean, that's who I am, ideas, right? I had an idea one morning and I found myself at about noon that day, still in my bathrobe, having done research all morning to see if my idea held water, you know, writing down the ideas, what could come of it. And in about 4.5 or 5 hours, I had literally created a whole new thing.
Wow.
No voices in the background. I was in such bliss of creation that, and I'd never experienced that in my life. There were no, I wasn't even aware of the time that had passed. I wasn't aware of what else I hadn't even gotten myself dressed, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is strange. But I kind of expected it to wear off. I thought, okay, it's post facilitating a seminar high, which we get. If we attend seminars, we have post seminar high.
Yes.
And as the weeks passed, it didn't wear off. In fact, it increased. And I found that the voices aren't running. The stress isn't running most of the time. And when a little bit of something pops in, I'm aware of it like an observer. Oh, wait a minute, that doesn't match my great feeling. So I'm able to figure out how to clear it out quickly, and I can clear it out with the ball in 45 seconds if I want to, or something else. So for me personally, I experienced it as a bystander, as a person witnessing. And we actually have discovered that people watching a Cognomovement session have, at a minimum, a sense of euphoria. At a maximum, they receive the change as well. We're not exactly sure why. We think it's a raise of energy, but we also think that they're watching the ball.
Yes.
And actually following along in the process. So, I mean, for me personally, it's like a miracle, because to have that level of frustration eliminated from my body and to be able to create so rapidly, it's fantastic. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's taking you from all these other places, from the past, from the, you know, from the future, and it brings you back into the present.
Yeah, it really does.
This is where we have been inspired to be. We are being, you know, told that this is where you need to live in the present, because this is real.
Right.
You know, everything else is not real, but the present right now, while I'm talking to you, you know, what happened 5 minutes ago, it's already gone. And I think most of us do have, especially if you're a mother or a woman, that I find that you are distracted with so many other things and so many other, you know, ideas are pulling. Oh, I should do the dishes. I have to make dinner. And what am I going to make for dinner? And where am I going to go shopping? All of these other things distract you, you know. So this, you know, if it keeps you in the present and just focused on one idea, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, really just that alone. I'm going to show you this. So this is the Hawkins scale, map of consciousness. That's what I'm referring to, that we're using in Cogno Conscious. And one of the things that Bill used originally in all of his work, and he created also the map of awareness, But what we figure out is that up in here in these higher levels, we've got love, peace, reason, joy. This is where you can create instantly. This is where things manifest. But most of us are down here in shame, guilt, apathy, grief. You know, anxiety is here with fear.
Yeah.
Many moments.
We've been conditioned to that. We've been conditioned to that, right?
Yeah. And
so we have to remove that.
Yeah. So doing regular Cognomovement sessions, we realize we're deleting some of these. And that's why we created Cogno Conscious, because we realize if we intentionally delete this block of thing anywhere and everywhere that shame is running in your body as a program, your mind is a program, your spirit is a program, we can acknowledge it and delete it, that we can get into those realms of being able to be up here more often for the sake of creating and really for the sake of the planet. I know that your listeners talk about these things, talk about the grid, talk about the field, talk about the planet. If we are existing up in here more often, we can contribute that back to the grid.
Yeah, 100%.
One of the things we're noticing is people are reporting, coming back and saying, I'm a different person. I'm just not reacting the same way. Like things don't tick me off like they did. And they're noticing that their spouses are now reacting differently. So their energy is influencing everything and everyone around them, which we know because of the Heart Math Institute and their study on how far our electromagnetic signal has influence, 6 to 10 feet on a healthy person and 30 to 45 feet on a person who is very charismatic. So a movie star or a cult leader, right? Okay. We have that kind of influence.
Yeah.
What is that influence? Is it an influence? If we're living in our home and we're running around in an influence of shame, guilt, fear, or anxiety, that's what our kids are feeling. That's what our animals are feeling.
Of course, yeah.
So if there's any way, shape, or form that we could exist up here a little more and do it like that, we got to try. And that's really our feeling about this. We got to try to create that state for as many people as possible so it can be contributed back to the grid and back to our families and back to the planet. Very well said.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. I think we've gone a little over our time.
We did.
And you'll be putting in the board, on the board there, the websites and all, how to get in contact.
I'll make sure we have the websites, the email, and ways to contact us, and let us know if you think there's enough interest in your area. We'll plan a seminar where you are and come to you and change the vibration in your area.
Love that. Alrighty, so you are Liz Larson from Transform One Idea, and you have a website of your own that people can check you out.
Yeah, it is Transform, the word one, O-N-E, idea.com. So my motto is that the smallest shift can make the biggest change, and that's what we're talking about. Small shifts that we, can change everything. So transformoneidea.com, transformoneidea@gmail.com. You can reach me, and you can reach me through the Cognomovement site as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm Carmela from Power of Rise and Spirit, and you can reach me at powerofriseandspirit.com. That's my my website, and Carmela Lammana at outlook.com. You can reach me through there, the email, through Facebook, Power of Rise and Spirit, or Carmela Lammana. And yes, so thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Liz, and thank you to Bill for creating this amazing tool for us, to create this amazing research that you guys have done. And I can't say enough. I am so excited to learn and to help kids and adults and share and shift the energy. So
thank you so much for sharing this with your audience, and I hope to meet some of them in person soon. So thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Ciao.